Nobody believed Caitlin Clark could be pushed out of Indiana, until now. If this Los Angeles move happens, it could completely reshape the future of the WNBA.
They're trading Caitlin Clark to the Los Angeles Sparks. Let me just set the stage. Lynn Dunn, the 90-year-old former Purdue coach, former Indiana Fever coach, she's out getting the messaging out on
something big may be happening in the WNBA, and many people haven't realized it yet. Caitlin Clark, the player who has brought millions of new fans to women's basketball and made regular season games must-watch events, could be heading to Los Angeles. But this isn't a normal free agency move or a trade request. Reports suggest she could be forced into the move. That changes everything. This isn't about chasing a championship or moving to a bigger market. It's about the league's biggest star possibly leaving the team and fan base she helped build to become part of a completely different system. Los Angeles is more than just a city. It's one of the biggest sports and entertainment markets in the world. If this move really happens, it won't just affect Caitlin Clark. It could change the future of the entire WNBA. That raises an important question. How can the league's biggest player be forced into a move at a time when player empowerment has become so important? And what does that say about who really has the power behind the scenes? Those are the questions everyone is starting to ask. What would happen to the Indiana Fever, the team Caitlin Clark didn't just join but helped transform? Before she arrived, the Fever struggled to get attention. Now they are one of the most talked about teams in the WNBA because of her impact. That if she leaves, can the Fever recover? Or would it take years to rebuild what she helped create? Another big question is whether this move would actually be good for Caitlin Clark. Would playing in Los Angeles help her grow? Or could it slow her down? A bigger market doesn't always mean a better situation. The right fit matters just as much as the spotlight that I end this video. We'll look at every part of the story. We'll explain what's driving these reports, why they are happening now, and who stands to benefit the most if the move happens. By the end, you'll have a better understanding of what Los Angeles could mean for Clark's future, whether the WNBA would benefit more than she would, and what this could say about how the league treats its biggest stars. By the end of this video, you'll have a whole new view of what the Indiana Fever's future could look like if they lose the player their team is built. I've looked through the reports, the timeline, and the details that many people are missing. One key piece of information changes the way this entire story can be viewed. Before we get into it, let me know what you think. Would Caitlin Clark succeed in Los Angeles? Or would this move hurt her more than help her? Share your opinion in the comments. This story isn't coming from a random sports commentator. It comes from Lynn Dunn, the 90-year-old coaching legend, former Purdue coach, and former Indiana Fever coach. She never directly said that Caitlin Clark is being traded. Instead, she shared a personal story about having to let a superstar go because, even though it was difficult, she believed it was the right decision. That message has led many people to wonder if she was hinting at something bigger. That doesn't seem like a coincidence. Lynn Dunn has spent decades in basketball and knows how to send a message without saying everything directly. The way she told the story was carefully planned. The timing also caught people's attention. When she connected her story to Los Angeles, a city where the league's biggest stars often end up, it made many fans believe there was a deeper meaning behind her words. This isn't just a rumor started by fans or sports commentators. Some people believe the conversation is already being shaped from inside the basketball world, with certain messages being shared in a careful and indirect way.
They're trading Caitlin Clark to the Los Angeles Sparks. Let me just set the stage. Lynn Dunn, the 90-year-old former Purdue coach, former Indiana Fever coach, she's out getting the messaging out on what they're about to do to Caitlin Clark.
You know, your culture is so important to the foundation of what you do. I had to let a superstar go one time for academic reasons, and it was tough, and she couldn't stand me. I had to kick her off the team. She left the school.
Gotcha. We're being set up. They've made the decision in basketball.
Did you notice how unusual it was that Lynn Dunn was the one telling this story? She's a 90-year-old retired coach, not a member of the Fever's front office, the league, or Caitlin Clark's team. That alone has made people ask questions. Then another question comes up. If this decision has already been made, when did it happen? And if Clark had no say in it, why? The word forced keeps coming up, and that stands out because the WNBA has often talked about giving players more control over their careers. There's another interesting detail. Lynn Dunn didn't compare the situation to basketball. Instead, She used an example about a superstar in an academic setting that has led some people to wonder if the issue is being presented as a culture or team fit problem instead of a basketball decision. One possible view is that Dunn's comments were meant to prepare fans for a decision before any official announcement. Some believe using a respected former coach could make the message easier for fans to accept than if it came directly from the front office. Others also think the academic analogy may have been used to suggest that even a talented player can sometimes create challenges for a team's culture. If that is the message, it could help explain a controversial decision. Of course, none of this has been confirmed. These are interpretations based on Dunn's comments, not proof that a trade or move has already been decided. But if that is how the situation develops, many people will likely see these comments as the beginning of the story. The next part of this story is where things become even more interesting. Up to this point, the discussion has mostly been based on rumors and speculation. But now, people are pointing to something more specific. The first part of the story focused on the narrative, Lynn Dunn's comments, the culture discussion, and the idea of preparing fans for a difficult decision. Now the conversation shifts to something else. Reports claim that a specific coach, Corey Close, has already been linked to Caitlin Clark in Los Angeles. The person making that claim has coached Clark during 2 USA basketball summers, so supporters of this theory believe it carries more weight than a random opinion. However, describing the situation as a crash landing doesn't really fit. A crash landing suggests something sudden, unexpected, and out of control. If these reports are accurate, the situation would look much more organized than that. It would suggest that plans were being discussed behind the scenes, with a coaching structure already in place before any public announcement. That wouldn't be chaos. It would look like a carefully planned process. That said, it's important to remember that none of this has been officially confirmed. Until the teams or Clark herself comment, these claims remain speculation rather than established fact.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ended up in Los Angeles. Shaquille O'Neal ended up in Los Angeles. LeBron James ended up in Los Angeles. This is what the NBA does. Should we be shocked they're doing it with the WNBA? And they've already, in my mind, identified the coach for Caitlin Clark in Los Angeles, a woman named Corey Close.
I coached Caitlin Clark for 2 summers in USA basketball. She's got, her confidence is incredible, and her ability to take something on her back, to seize a moment, is unlike many things we've ever seen.
And so they're doing a crash landing of Caitlin Clark, and what the NBA does is send its biggest stars.
The first question most people have is simple. If a coach has already been identified, how long has this plan been in the works? Choosing a coach for a player usually doesn't happen overnight. It often involves discussions and planning. That leads to another question. If these reports are true, did Caitlin Clark know about any of this while she was still playing for Indiana and helping the Fever draw record crowds? Another bigger question is whether the WNBA is following a similar model to other major sports leagues by placing its biggest stars in major markets like Los Angeles. If so, what does that mean for player freedom and control over their own careers? People are also asking whether Corey Close would truly be the best coach for Clark, or whether she is simply being connected to this story because of the reported move. However, it's important to separate questions from facts. There is no official confirmation that Clark is being moved, that Corey Close has been chosen as her coach, or that the Indiana Fever, the WNBA, and the Los Angeles Sparks have coordinated such a plan. That if those claims were ever confirmed, they would suggest a well-planned process rather than a last-minute decision. But until then, they remain speculation. The comparison to how other leagues promote star players is an opinion, not proof that the same strategy is being used here. Some people believe the WNBA is following a strategy similar to other major sports leagues by placing its biggest stars in larger media markets. Under that view, Indiana would be seen as a stepping stone rather than a long-term home for a superstar. Corey Close's connection to Caitlin Clark through USA basketball is real, and some believe that relationship could make her a natural choice if Clark were ever to play in Los Angeles. However, there is no official evidence that such a move has been planned or approved. Until any announcement is made, these ideas remain speculation based on reports and opinions. That if you want to stay updated on the latest WNBA news, rumors, and analysis, subscribe to the channel. We'll continue following this story and break down every new development as it happens.